Have I killed my art channel? I don't know. You probably noticed if you're a regular viewer that there's been a bit of a gap, and my husband was taken seriously ill. He's home now and I'm looking after him during his recovery. But what has this done to my very small, quietly ticking over channel? For those of you who don't know me, this is Dunnock Studio and we're in the heart of Norfolk, UK, and I help people get started with art, try and give you some inspiration, etc. My channel is very small and I've been on YouTube for 2.5 years and I haven't been paid a penny. So this is a labour of love. I enjoy sharing my tips and techniques with you. But I think I might have probably killed my channel. Only you guys can tell me if I have. And so I've come on tonight because it's the World Cup final and I can get out the way for a couple of hours and know that my husband isn't going to go anywhere. He's quietly watching the footy. So have I killed my channel? Well, we'll have to find out. So it's been an extremely stressful time, I'll be absolutely honest with you. Did art save me? Did I paint during this time? Absolutely not. Did I look at art? Yes, I looked at an app on my phone called Daily Art occasionally. It's free, you can sign up. I looked at different paintings. I'm a member of a couple of forums where I do online classes, and I had a look at what other people were doing. So could I sit in the studio and paint? No, I couldn't. It was too stressful a time. Could I film a video for you? No, sorry, I couldn't. And you probably understand if you've ever had somebody close to you get very ill. So I'm going to do a quick little painting tonight, just to see if I can get back into this and to see if my channel can perhaps pick up from me ignoring it for probably a month. And you know what the analytics are like. They don't like it if you don't post at least 3 times a day and paint naked or various other things you have to do nowadays. That's not me. I'm just having a sip of my Schlur non-alcoholic grape juice, which is very nice. So let's have a little look. So this is a photo of an orange I chopped up and put in my windowsill a little while ago. Now please don't use this photo. Go and get yourself an orange, chop it up if you want or leave it whole, and try and do a little painting of it, just a simple one. So next thing I looked at is, well, if I follow the photo exactly, this is yellow orange here. Well, orange itself is opposite a blue. So if I go slightly off complement, yellow orange and blue green, that's where I'm going to go anyway to get myself a colour scheme going on. So there's my palette. I've mixed up a cool yellow, a lemony yellow, because if you look in that picture you'll see there's some pale lemony colours. Just because it's an orange doesn't make it all orange. Then the one that's in here is a Jackman's art, for those of you in the UK. If I can get that to focus, probably not. It's called Marigold, and I'm just going to try that for the first time. And then we've got Winsor & Newton Cobalt Turquoise, I think that's that one. And then another Jackman's Cerulean Blue, which is still on the greeny side, so it's a cool blue. So those are my mixes, and there's one space here for perhaps if I want to mix up a grey. And for those of you who are ahead of me, if you mix a orange with a blue or an off complement blue-green, you'll get a greyed down colour, so that could be useful for the shadows. So please bear with me if I'm not totally up to my usual standard. I'm just trying to get my head around getting back into this. So I'm going to put that out the way just for a second. And I'm using a recycled watercolor block. And this is Sea Whites of Brighton. And it's got 25% reclaimed cotton in there. That means it holds onto the water quite nicely. It's a block, so I've already taken this front piece off, but when you want to take off the next bit, you have to find a gap on the corner on this one and slide something in there to take it all the way around, like a palette knife or even a credit card just would do that. I do like blocks because you don't have to worry about sticking your paper to anything. It's quite a nice way to paint. So here's one I did earlier. So normally, if you watch my channel, you'll see that I do my lines last. But in this particular occasion, I've decided to put them on first, just to throw a spanner in the works. As you can see, I've kept it very loose. It's sort of following the photograph, but I'm not really worried about that too much. I'm just going to throw some paint on it and see what happens. So I've got a different setup today, so you might hear things beeping in the background and see things you don't normally see. So apologies for that. Let's go for it. Now I'm just looking for my big brush, which I've got some of this lemony yellow colour in. I'm just going to pick that up. And then I'm going to run over the areas that I think I want to have this lemony yellow in. And if you're being very careful and following the light, etc., you may well want to be a little smaller brush and do this properly. I'm not feeling too fussed about getting things right today. I just want to splash some paint on. And this orange has definitely got yellow in it, so it's quite a good exercise because you observe things that you perhaps don't notice normally. So if you're looking at an orange, your brain is saying, oh, it must be orange. And guess what? It isn't always orange. Oops, I've just gone over my white area there, but that's fine. Got a plan for that. So this is all quite nice in here. Trying to keep the light where the light would be coming through this orange. And this is our first sort of wet layer really. So rather than running the water over first, I've just gone straight in with paint. So quick rinse out of that. Let's pick up some of this orange. See if this is too big a brush. I'm being quite generous with my paint today. I thought, you know what, we're just going to throw paint around and see what happens. It's still really a little bit wet for that stage. You probably can tell I don't care. So yeah, artist therapy when you're going through trauma. How helpful is it? I think it is really helpful, but I think it's helpful later when you're trying to process a trauma. Also though, when you're in it, something as simple as looking at a painting. There was a painting on the wall in the unit where my husband was for a while, and because of the drugs he was on, he saw all sorts of things in this painting which made me stop and look at it and think, well, why can he see that? As, you know, is it just the drugs talking? And it's interesting because his brain was obviously in creative mode. And did that help him? I don't know. I don't know if it helped him or made him just feel a bit out of his body type of thing. I don't know. But looking with him, and he was saying, I can see this, I can see that. I was joining in and saying, yeah, I can see that, because I could actually. There was one that was a hand washing poster, and it had dots going around in a big circle of how to wash your hands properly, but that turned into marching ants. So we had a good old chat about how come the poster was ants and why were they moving. So there you go. quite an interesting experience. I wouldn't say it's a very good experience, but I'll be interested to hear if any of you have any experiences of health disasters where art plays a part. I'm just letting that settle in a bit, but whilst I'm doing that, if I think I've got too much on in places, good old lifting out, which is all I'm doing, is using the squeezed out brush, wiping it on my towel, and every now and again going in to the water, cleaning it, and then running along again where I want bits to come out. It's starting to settle now. You can get these stiff nylon brushes. These are Matthew Palmer ones. Matthew Palmer is very good business artist. I'm sure most of you in the UK know who that is. So I bought his lift out brushes just to see what they were like. And you know what, they work really well. Any nylon brush will do, but somebody else has taken out the guesswork and given me a lift out brush of different sizes, so we'll go with that. Thank you, Matthew. And let's just pop this on. So I'm not following the photo too much now. I'm just dragging paint around, lifting paint off, trying to save some highlights here and there. Just looking at the picture as it's settling in. Can you see how it's buckling a little bit there? It's buckling because it's got a lot of water on it, but because we're on a block, when it dries it will dry flat again. Takes out all that worry. So it's quite lemony under here, but I'm not worried because it is lemony under the image there. Just get rid of that white because we don't want anything too light down the bottom end. Yeah, quite liking that. Now I'll go to one of the teeny tiny lift out brushes as we're starting to dry out. See if I can get a lift on here. It's not as easy to see. Orange has got red in it, and red is harder to lift than any other colour. So if you try and lift stuff off and you can't work out why it's not coming off, just have a think about what's in the colour. Has it got red in it? If it has, chances are that's why it's not coming off. So just lifting. Let's put some small marks in. It's starting to dry down here now. So I can just do some smaller marks, tiny ones. Okay, and let's go for the big one, just so you can see the marks that they make. So where should we go with that one? Let's go over here. Lifting off is one of those really good techniques that some people just don't do at all. Actually, I recommend you try. Take off some paint. Take off more than you put on. See what happens. You might be pleasantly surprised. You can always put some on again, but hey, we're doing a painting that's quick, fast and furious, and are we going to spend time putting loads of paint on and off? I don't think so. This is my first painting I've done since the events that happened. I'll just put a little bit of yellow on there. Right, Now the original plan was to put some lovely opposite or split complementary colours to go with this. So when I'm happy that most of this is dry enough, because I'm bound to ruin it otherwise, give my big brush a rinse out. These are Rosemary & Co brushes. I love them because they're pink, so why wouldn't you have a pink brush? Rose of England series. I think they are out of they don't make these anymore. I picked these up on Patching's art show 2-3 years ago. Since then we haven't had a show, and I didn't realise how good they were, and they were a special deal, and I wish I'd bought more. Whether they have any in stock, I don't know. So I'm going to go in with my cerulean. No, is that cerulean? No, that one was Cobalt. Jackman's Art Materials. Jackman's Art Materials, made in the UK. This is a darker blue, so I'm starting with that. A close, sorry about the buzzing, it's my camera trying to connect because I'm using the other camera. So I'm just going under here as if this is the shadow area, making it up as I go along. Is this the right place for this shadow? Who knows? We don't know, do we? Let's just posh that on there. Those go quite well, doesn't it, with the oranges and yellows? Well, hopefully you agree. You might have a different idea. You might want to do different coloured shadows. This is just my colour choice. And it's got to try and emulate something like the shape of an orange slice, just because it is supposed to be a shadow. So that one would come down there a bit. Lovely. Right, stop there. Now we've got different, slightly turquoisey one. This is the Winsor & Newton one, which is cobalt turquoise. So that's going to go along the top. Just go around the edge there. I've got a nice big brush, quite enjoying having a big brush for a change. And yeah, I am staying within the lines a little bit, but I can do what I like. I feel like doing what I like today. Take from this what you will. And where this orange is very pale on the top, by going along in another colour, you highlight that area even more. So I might put some of the cobalt in there just to darken that end there. There we go. And I've got a spray bottle, handy spray bottles as usual, so I'm just going to soften that top edge off. Let's have something interesting going on there. Tilt that over there. What's happening really? Let's have a look. Wrong brush. So I'm just going to put some more of that over there. Let that all run over. Just a little bit more of this dark one, because I quite like that contrast there. Tip it all off. And down it comes. Then what shall I do down here? Right, what I said at the beginning is what happens if you put orange, oops, straight into my yellow, and mix it with a split complementary, which is a blue-green. I've gone for the darker one, you probably noticed. What happens? Ooh, get a very, very nice grey. Now that, as you can see, has gone warm, as in it's on the brown side. If I want it to be bluer, therefore cooler, guess what? Add the blue back in. Almost a mid grey there. Let's just get a bit more blue because I just want it on the blue side. There you go. Orange and bluey green will make you grey. That's the darkest colour I'm going to get with these colours, unless I add something like grey or something else like that in, and I'm not particularly wanting to do that. So what can I do with that? Well, I think I am just going to create like a table edge or something here, and that is pretty much all I will do with it. Maybe I'll pop it around the other side to balance it. So I've made this grey out of the colours that we already have on here. So therefore I'm not creating a monster with new colours, because I don't want the colours to be suddenly different at this stage in the painting, because it's not going to work if they suddenly got a brand new colour in there. This is much nicer way of working. I'm doing this sort of back to front really, but hey. Just need to cover up that little bit of white because we're on a surface. That one's really picking up the paper, isn't it? As in the marks on the paper. Let's get rid of that area there. So I've made the table a bit darker than the original image. There we go, that's probably quite enough paint on there. It's going to take a little while to settle into its colours, it's whether they're paler or darker, or whether they look right or wrong. It just has to settle. I'm just going to do some little mark making just to finish this little sketch off. And sorry, this is sequin waste. If you go to a charity craft place, which is where I get mine from, sometimes you can pick these up. I'm just using a magic eraser over it. It just breaks into the shapes that you have on the page, creates a bit of texture. Now you can do that with salt or whatever you like. It's quite fun, that one. Can put some maybe up here as well to balance it. Let's just do it once more. The harder you rub, the more comes off. Get the idea? This just makes it a little bit more interesting to look at, a little bit more contemporary, a little bit less of a twee picture of oranges. Let's just take some off of here as well. There we go. That's probably overdone it, but hey, never mind. So there's my relatively quick sketch of orange segments. I hope you got something from that. Go and chop up an orange. Don't forget to choose your colours depending on what you want. I particularly went for off complements. They're almost opposite on the colour wheel. And also that an orange, just because it's orange, doesn't mean to say it hasn't got some lemony yellows in it, etc. I could go back in and do shadows and things which will give it a lot more depth, but I'm not going to do that. This is just a quick sketch. So thanks for watching. As I say, I'm not sure if my channel is getting out to anybody at all. Who knows? 2.5 years plus on YouTube, and then I'd have to take a month off for my husband's health, which of course happens to lots and lots of people. So if you're out there and you are able to say hi, I would really appreciate it. So the last bit of my video unfortunately didn't record. My little camera overheated. These newfangled things are not as good as a good old-fashioned video camera, hey. Anyway, it's my first video back, so apologies for the terrible quality. And this is the finished painting. So all I've done is added a few more shadows, just sort of dulled down some of the bits that are facing towards you. So thanks for watching, and I hope you grab some oranges, do a painting of them, and just have some fun with your colour choices. And hopefully me not being on here for a while hasn't killed this channel dead, because I don't even know if any of you can actually see me, because it will only promote what it thinks people are going to watch. So thank you if you are watching, I really appreciate it. And if you want to say hi, please do. It'd be lovely to know that you're there. And take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.